Hello and welcome back to Artemisse Tarot. Thank you for joining me for today's video, all about your love journey toward your soulmate, your future spouse, you're the one, or whatever you fancy calling the person you are meant to be with. In this reading, we will take a look at the most significant steps in your love path toward union with your special person. I am actually very excited for today's reading because the format will be a little different from usual. I'll be shuffling the deck and taking all the cards that come out in sequence until we get a card that represents the soulmate union, such as the Two of Cups, or the Lovers, or the Ten of Cups, or the Four of Wands, for example. All the tarot cards that come out will represent an important or notable step in your love journey towards your person, and I'll also interpret the final union card, which will tell us more about the nature of your connection with your person. So whether you have yet to start down this path, or you are somewhere along the way, or even if you are already together with your person, I hope you'll be able to gain some insight and find messages that are meant for you. I'll be using the Tarot of the Little Prince today, and The Little Prince, which is a novella written by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, is one of my favorite stories of all time. It is full of wonderful, magical, and deep messages and wisdom. So I hope this deck will also bring us some profound insight and inspiration in today's reading. At the end, we will also look to a few oracle cards for some guidance on what to do now, or perhaps advice or confirmations for those who need to hear them. As always, thank you all so much for your love, your support, your kind comments, and also for liking these videos. It really does help this channel continue to grow. A few of you have even made donations, so thank you so much for your support and generosity. Thanks to you, I have purchased a few new decks, and one of these decks is the Moonology manifestation cards, which we'll be using in today's reading. Now then, without further ado, we have 4 readings for you to choose from today, and to help you pick, I have these beautiful flower tea light candles. Group 1 has this green lotus candle. Group 2 has the cherry blossom candle. Group 3 has the yellow buttercup candle. And Group 4 has the blue hydrangea candle. Please take your time to pick the reading that's calling out to you the most. You are welcome to pause the video if you would like. Once you've decided, please find your timestamp down below, and I will meet you at your reading. This reading is for those of you who have chosen the green lotus candle. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to your reading all about your love journey towards your soulmate. In the first half of the reading, we'll look at your tarot cards, which each represent a significant step along your love path, ending with your soulmate union card. This union could symbolize something different for every one of you watching, such as the moment when you and your person recognize that you are each other's soulmate, or it could be when you finally enter a committed relationship, or when you get married. There are several cards in the tarot deck that can be interpreted as a love union, so we will also look into the particular card that comes out for you and what that means with respect to the nature of your connection with your person. And then in the second part of the reading, we'll get some insight from oracle cards to answer questions like what you should do now, or what to pay attention to, be careful of, or look forward to along your love journey. To start things off, I would like to get some intuitive messages from the lotus candle that you have chosen. we can see that this candle is a soft and bright jade green, and the lotus here has 7 petals. It's a little too pretty to burn, but we'll go ahead and ignite your flame. When I think of the lotus, the words Zen and knowing and spirituality come to mind. I'm also thinking of the lotus pose that we can sit in for meditation. So there could be an importance of grounding yourself, patience, and inner peace within your love journey. Perhaps your patience and peace will be tested through trials and tribulations, or it could be that for some of you, this kind of patient, peaceful, calm, wise, insightful, and powerful energy is the energy of you or your person. The lotus also represents a spiritual or higher level connection, so it's very likely that you and your soulmate are connected in this special, profound, or even transcendent kind of way. There's a lot of wisdom of the ages in the lotus, so perhaps you or your person could be an old soul and you've weathered through so many storms or past lives to finally find each other and unite or reunite in this lifetime. For those of you who find this of significance, 7 may be an important number for you, your person, or your connection. 7 represents inner wisdom, spirituality, and intuition as well. So this could be a message for you to listen to your inner voice as you progress along your love journey, because your intuition will guide you in the right direction. Let's move into your tarot cards now. I am using the Tarot of the Little Prince today, and this is one of my favorite stories that talks about a pilot crashing in the desert and meeting a mysterious little prince who claims to be from a different planet. On his home planet, the little prince has a rose that he loves, but he did not know how to love her, so he left home and visited many planets, including the Earth, and he met people and animals, and the journey eventually teaches him love and wisdom. This journey of the little prince reminds us that love is a journey, so I think these cards are perfect for our reading today. I've already shuffled and drawn all the cards that wanted to come out for you to save us some time, so we will go ahead and reveal all your cards in sequence first, and then we will go into detail and interpret every card. I want to note that the love journey here will not be your entire love journey. It is only the portion of your love journey that pertains to your path toward your soulmate. Each of you watching at this moment may be at a different stage within your love path. So when you figure out the step you're currently at, feel free to share with us in the comments. To start your journey, you have the Temperance card. Wow, this seems somehow very fitting. And then there is the Three of Wands. And next we have the Two of Swords, followed by the Page of Wands. Oof, I like where this is going. And then the Hanged Man. Oh, wow. Next we have the Five of Wands. Interesting. And then there is the Six of Pentacles. And then the Eight of Swords. Followed by the Queen of Pentacles. And next, the Page of Swords. And also the Ten of Pentacles. Very nice. And then The Eight of Wands. Yes, some action. And next, the Knight of Wands. Ooh. And your Union card, the Four of Wands. Wow. All right, let's talk about your Union card first. You got the Four of Wands, which is the 1111 card. For those of you who believe in twin flames, this is the twin flame union card because the four wands look like 1111. Regardless of whether you subscribe to the notion of twin flames, for me this card is about soulmates who are perfect matches and kindred spirits. With this Four of Wands coming out as your union card, you and your person will be each other's perfect person. This doesn't mean that you or they are perfect, it's just that you two are perfect for each other. This kind of connection is incredibly deep and powerful, and you will feel like you fit together like puzzle pieces. For some of you, you could find that there will be a lot of mirroring between the two of you. For example, it may be that your values and outlooks on life align very well, or maybe your biorhythms and daily habits match. On this note, people sometimes think that twin flames mean that your personalities are very similar. However, I find that while sometimes this can definitely be the case, oftentimes it's just that your personalities mesh together perfectly, even if you do have your differences. Regardless, this kind of connection will be felt by both of you as incredibly strong and powerful. There will be intense, undeniable attraction, and you'll feel as if there's some sort of an invisible force drawing you toward each other. Sometimes people are a little bit afraid of twin flame relationships because they can be difficult and turbulent and full of soul lessons that we may be afraid to address. However, with the Four of Wands card, which is about stability and security, this represents a successful soul union full of steadfast and mature, stable energy. So even if this relationship could contain its fair share of ups and downs, ultimately when you come together after having grown and evolved and learned your lessons, it will be wonderful and amazing as well as full of passion and attraction because wands are also powerful fire energy. In the image on this card, we have the little prince and his friend the fox playing in a field of golden wheat. In the story of the little prince, the fox teaches the little prince about forming deep connections and emotional ties with others. The fox tells the little prince that until they tame each other and establish their ties to each other, the little prince is just like any other boy, and the fox is just like any other fox. But once they do connect, they are unique to each other in all the world. And so for the fox who does not eat wheat, this field of wheat is purposeless and unimportant. However, once they have formed their ties to each other, the wheat field, which is golden like the little prince's hair, will always remind the fox of the little prince and bring him warmth and fondness and love. The Four of Wands in this deck is all about the good things that come to those who wait. It is about the reward for patience and effort because the fox teaches the little prince that in order to establish true ties, the little prince must be patient and slowly build trust bit by bit and grow closer to each other day by day. And because of this patience and effort, not only between you and your person, but also within your own selves, the two of you will establish such a secure and strong and stable bond that will withstand the test of time. And in your union, there will be joy and satisfaction and abundance as you dance and play in your field of gold. This is such a beautiful soulmate union between you and your person, but like we saw with the lotus as well, there could be a lot that may try to test your patience, your inner peace, your strength. So let's go back to the beginning of your journey and look into each of the most important steps. Starting with our first card, you begin your love journey with Temperance. And Temperance is all about moderation, self-restraint, finding balance, and patience. It always makes me chuckle when the messages confirm each other like this. The Temperance card reminds us to find our point of equilibrium and to practice patience, moderation, and restraint in order to find our peace. The fact that this is the first step on your love journey toward your person says that at this point in time, you will be on track to getting your life together. You definitely do not have to have everything figured out before you start your love journey, but this card means you will at least have come to the realization that you want to get it together. Perhaps in the past, your love life was a bit messier. Maybe you didn't take care of yourself, or you didn't know clearly what you wanted or where you were going. But with Temperance, you have taken at least this first step, which is becoming aware of your desire to find this point of balance and peace. I really like that you have started with this card as the first step of your love journey, because this tells us you are in the right mindset, which will allow you to set a good foundation for a stable, wonderful love relationship with your person. The image on this card shows the little prince and the pilot finding the well after being lost and wandering the desert. This could be a clue for how to identify when your love journey begins to head towards your soulmate. You will feel like a deep thirst has been quenched by the precious water in this well. You'll feel like you have finally found your purpose or direction, or like you are starting to understand what it is you want and need in a love connection. Again, like I said, it doesn't mean you have to have everything figured out at this point, because this is just the beginning. And you see, it is followed by this Three of Wands, which is all about expansion and exploring new horizons. Since the Three of Wands comes before the Four of Wands, which is your final soulmate union card, I feel that for many of you, this here will be the step where your soulmate first appears in your life. For a few of you, you may meet in person, but for others of you, this could represent you hearing about them or even you beginning to manifest them. At this step in your love journey, you will really be exploring and expanding. So this could mean you will be out in the dating scene, or you will be growing internally by doing your own shadow work. The card that comes next is the Two of Swords. This card represents a stalemate or indecision. This is a period of frustration and a stalling of movement. It could mean that you are noticing that your love connection with your person is not progressing, or if you are manifesting them, you're feeling blockages that are preventing them from coming to you. The Two of Swords can also represent a fork in the road where you need to make a very important choice, but there could be some sort of conflict that is making this decision very difficult, such as what your heart wants versus what your mind wants. For example, this could be that you will be making a decision between two love offers. One person may seem like logically your perfect match, but for some reason your heart is being drawn to the other. With that said, our next card is the Page of Wands. This card talks about a new spark of love, of inspiration, of passion. So this means you will be coming out of your Two of Swords stalemate phase by making your decision. This is a very exciting time because the majority of you will be in contact in some way with your soulmate at this point. But funnily enough, the image on this card shows the railway switchman who diverts the passing trains onto their separate tracks. This makes me think that, like train tracks that branch off on different paths, those of you who chose this pile may be diverging into two groups here. Some of you will follow your heart, but some of you will not yet at this point. This means while some of you may make the decision to start dating your soulmate, others of you choose to remain single or mingle longer in the dating pool. However, regardless of which choice you make, it will be the right one for you because the Page of Wands is a positive card representing inspired passion and taking risks. This could translate to starting off with a very fiery, physical attraction-based relationship with your person, or it could mean some of you may be sowing your oats and experiencing and experimenting. However, at this step in your love journey, it's likely that the majority of you will not yet realize that your person is indeed your person. For example, maybe you are under the notion that it is a purely physical relationship, or it could be that you are dating other people while your soulmate is quietly waiting for you or being there for you in the background. Or this could be vice versa for some of you where you know your person is your soulmate, but they have yet to realize it. In the story, the little prince and this railway switchman discuss how train travelers are in a hurry, but no one really knows what they're looking for, but they're never satisfied where they are. Similarly, the page is a more naive and immature sort of energy, which reflects that this love connection between you and your person is not yet ready at this point here. But with that said, this will be an exciting phase of your journey. It will be fast-paced and full of chemistry and passion, so you will still have a pretty good old time here. However, your next card is the Hanged Man, which talks about suspended action and trials and tribulations. This card is another one that represents patience, as well as surrendering and being still for a moment to reevaluate. It seems like this is finally the point at which you and your person will recognize that you are indeed each other's soulmate. However, it could take quite a bit of time and really test your patience. The Hanged Man talks about surrendering to emotional release and putting egos aside. It is about making sacrifices in order to grow. It could feel like breaking down and crashing, like the image here shows. The pilot crashes his plane in the desert, but as a result of this disaster comes something wonderful as he is able to meet the little prince. For many of you, this is the phase in your journey where you and your person will be letting each other in emotionally. You will be letting your walls come crashing down, but as a result, you'll be able to get closer and begin building your real bond. But with this process comes conflict, and the Five of Wands that comes next represents these challenges and obstacles. While this could indicate fights or disagreements between you and your person, for more of you, I feel this is internal conflict within yourself. In the image on this card, we see that the pilot is confronting the snake that later on bites the little prince. The snake here could represent your inner demons and fears, but in the story of the little prince, the snake is also very wise and powerful enough to send the little prince back home to the rose that he loves the most. This Five of Wands is a very important part of your love journey in which you will be doing a lot of growth. You and your person will be starting to resolve conflicts between yourselves and within yourselves, and only by doing so will you two be able to go home to each other who you love the most. These conflicts and lessons could involve learning to give and receive, because the next card, which is the Six of Pentacles, is all about giving and receiving, as well as being compassionate and generous with yourselves and with each other. The image on this card depicts the pilot drawing a sheep for the little prince. The pilot was in a rush to fix his broken plane, but he was willing to take the time to draw the little prince a sheep because it seemed very important to the little prince. Similarly, in your love connection, even if you and your person don't fully share the exact same priorities, when you need them, they will be there for you. Even if they don't understand why something is important to you, they respect that it is important to you, and they are willing to give their time, their attention, patience, and love to support you when you need them. Perhaps this is how you or your person will finally realize how important you are to each other. Because when you really need each other, no matter how busy you are, the world stops and you make each other your top priority. Though with the 8 of Swords that comes next, it seems that the realization that someone is so important to you also can be a little bit scary, and you or your soulmate may become fearful that giving someone your heart means they could also break it. At this point in your journey, everything is starting to feel so real, and some of you may be experiencing a sense of loss of control. The 8 of Swords is about feeling restricted or trapped or helpless. Perhaps some of you will be stepping on the brakes and holding yourself back. At this phase of your journey, you could be recognizing problems and challenges within your connection. Others of you will be feeling helplessly in love with your person, and it could be quite scary because you don't want to lose or give up control. This could reflect problems or challenges within your own self or within the dynamic of your relationship. And as a result, it could mean that a few of you may even go on a break in your relationship. Either actually enter a separation phase or just mentally and emotionally take space away from each other. However, I do want to point out that we can see on the image on this card, the little prince is using his own hand to cover his eyes. So in effect, he is blinding himself or binding and trapping himself. This could be suggesting that any blockage in your progression at this point will be self-induced. We see that the little prince sees the swords and the danger of the snake below, but he is pretending not to see it. Perhaps you will be having trouble being honest with yourself and your feelings at this point in your love journey. The good thing, though, is that if it's self-induced, it also means you have the power to change your own circumstances. Fortunately, we have the Queen of Pentacles coming next, and this is a nurturing and comforting and grounding type of energy. This queen represents the comforting embrace of Mother Nature, and here you will be feeling nourished and safe and gathering the strength that you need to move forward. For some of you, this could be the warmth and support you receive from your person as you work through your blockages. Even if you are having a moment of weakness or struggling, your person will be your rock and give you so much patience, understanding, and comfort like this Queen of Pentacles. Earth energy is grounded and stable, so this tells us your relationship will be forming strong foundations and roots from here on out. We then see that your previous 8 of Swords is now becoming the Page of Swords. The Page of Swords is about truth, honesty, and communication. Swords represent things to do with the mind and the ego, and the Page is the youngest of the court cards, so it is more of an immature energy and talks about a beginning of your transformation. You may not be quite so eloquent at communicating and being honest with yourself and each other at this point, but this is a very positive card nonetheless because it marks a significant turning point with a positive shift of mindset. We then move into the 10 of Pentacles, which is all about a wonderful feeling of fulfillment and of abundance. At this step in your love journey, there will be so much amazing and overflowing love and health and wealth of all sorts. We can see in the image, the pilot's plane has been fixed and he is feeling accomplished and confident. The pentacles represent physical things, so you and your soulmate may be enjoying many of life's physical luxuries together, such as building a beautiful home, enjoying financial wealth, having all the things you need, and indulging in pleasures of all kinds. Use your imagination for this. This card also makes me think of gifts, so perhaps your person will be showering you in gifts, or you will be exchanging some important gifts at this point in your connection. Remember that gifts could be tangible or intangible, so this could even be gifting yourselves to each other. For some of you, gifts may also be one of the top love languages that you or your person likes to give or receive love, especially at this point in your relationship. And honestly, from here on, it is wonderful, powerful, passionate, smooth sailing for you and your person toward this final union. It might seem like a bit of a whirlwind of fireworks and magic, especially in contrast to the comparatively long and drawn-out first half of your journey full of its ups and downs, because the Eight of Wands is about action, speed, and passion and fire. We can see the image on this card shows lamplighters working together to ignite this lamp. This represents not only flames burning stronger than ever, there is also an idea of collaboration. This means you and your soulmate will be working together to light the fire of your love connection. And funnily enough, your next card is the Knight of Wands, which is represented by the lamplighter from the story of the Little Prince. Here is another confirmation of the passion and chemistry and love and sex and magic of your relationship. The Knight of Wands is a very fast-moving knight, and he represents momentum, creativity, and magnetic physical attraction, and he charges straight into our beautiful Four of Wands union card. This Knight of Wands is the charming, attentive, passionate lover, so you can absolutely look forward to some explosive, magical moments in your love connection, especially in the bedroom. I think with all the Wands energy here, the cards are making it clear as day that you and your person will be enjoying such an amazing, fiery, passionate connection that will lead up to and last throughout your final union. Wow, I'm definitely out of breath and it is getting steamy in here. These tarot cards have told us your love path step by step towards your person. It has been quite eventful for sure, so wherever you may be along this journey, I suppose you may be looking for some guidance or advice to help you figure out what in the world you should do now. So let's jump into your oracle cards to give us some wisdom. For your oracle cards, you have the Cloak, as well as Cosmic Butterfly. We also have the first quarter moon in Pisces with Honor Your Feelings, and also the last quarter moon in Taurus with Be Proud of Yourself. All right, let's start with the Cloak. The image on this card gives me the feeling of peaceful inner shadow work and reflection. The number on this card is 50, and the digits reduce to 5, which is all about change and coming to terms with shedding your protective cloak when you're ready. I think the guidebook explains this concept very eloquently, so I'd like to read it for you here. Around you there is a cloak of your own creation. Perhaps it has served you for a time as an invisible form of protection, as a way to claim needed solitude, as a way to retreat inside, to find out what you truly feel, what you truly need, to find yourself after being lost in an ocean of thought and emotion not always your own. Yet the time is fast approaching when you will no longer require that cloak. You have attained an integration within, a knowledge of self that makes it possible for you to connect with the world, with others, in a way that does not leave you lost and struggling to find yourself. You have learned how to hold yourself. You have learned how to do this well enough that you can successfully hold yourself and hold another too. You don't have to push the world away. You can invite it in and play. The message that this oracle brings to you is that you can safely release the forms of security that you once held. Perhaps many of you watching have a tendency to rely on a security blanket. While this kind of comfort is good, it can also keep you from moving forward and growing and evolving. I think this message fits especially well with what we saw earlier at your 8 of Swords step. The idea of trapping or restricting yourself due to a fear of releasing control and of being honest with yourself and with your emotions. We also have the first quarter moon in Pisces card confirming again that you should honor your feelings. Even if they are scary or turbulent or new, they are real and they will help guide you along your path. Pisces is about tuning into your intuition, your higher self, and your emotions. Perhaps some of you may find yourselves holding back or denying your feelings at some point. This card reminds you that not honoring your feelings can cause a significant blockage in the arrival of your manifestations and blessings. I'm also drawn to the fact that the color of our cloak card is this beautiful violet, and we have the same color crown chakra on the Pisces card. Whether or not you know about the chakras, the idea of this one is about listening to your inner wisdom, your higher self, and also divine guidance. I'm getting the feeling that at some key turning points along your love path, many of you will feel an innate desire to let your walls down and let your person in. But you may be insecure or scared, or holding on to past patterns that are familiar to you, which are actually keeping you from going toward where you want to be. The cloak card as well as the Pisces card are assuring you that it is safe for you to shed your cloak, spread your wings, and follow your intuition, because your connection with your soulmate is divinely guided and the universe has your back. Moving on to the cosmic butterfly card here, look at how beautiful this image is. All the details in these swirls of color. And if we look closely, we see that there's a person at the center of this butterfly, and these beautiful wings belong to them, and they're flying into the light. Butterflies are about transformation. This card is speaking about an evolution waiting for you along your path. This could be referring to the shift in mindset we saw earlier, or this could be something like a physical glow-up where some of you could be having your ugly duckling into beautiful swan moment. This card is confirmation for you that falling in love with your soulmate will be transformative and magical. Butterflies could also mean something significant to you, or it may be that you'll be seeing butterflies as a sign assuring you that you are on the right path towards your person. With the cosmic butterfly following the cloak card, I'm getting the image of you taking off your protective cloak to reveal your beautiful wings and then taking flight toward where you're meant to go. And finally, the last card that we have yet to touch upon is the last quarter moon in Taurus, reminding you to be proud of yourself. Taurus is a grounding earth energy that is ruled by Venus, which is the planet of love and beauty. When this card comes out, it means there could be unresolved issues with self-worth and recognizing your own value. Some of you watching may be having troubles with your love path because you don't truly believe you deserve to have this amazing Four of Wands relationship and union with your soulmate. A few of you may be feeling inadequate in comparison with your person because you see them as so wonderful and accomplished and successful and kind and loving. As a result, you might think you are not good enough for them, and this could be why some of you could be holding yourself back during the Eight of Swords phase, and you may even subconsciously drive your person away. In this respect, this card wants to assure you that just like how you see your person as wonderful and amazing, your person also sees you in the same way. They are proud of you, and they truly believe that you are worthy partners for each other. This card is also wanting to confirm that once you're able to see your value and recognize that you have come a long way and you have grown so much, and you start to feel abundant within yourself and reach the 10 of Pentacles stage in your love journey, the rest will come so easily, and you absolutely deserve to be with your soulmate in your Four of Wands field of gold. Pisces season or Taurus season may be important times for some of the key steps along your love journey, or it may be that you or your person could have strong Pisces or Taurus influences in your charts. And with the spiritual crown chakra energy of the Pisces card, as well as the grounding rooted energy of the Taurus card, I'm sure that your love connection with your soulmate will have the best of both of these worlds. So even if the path toward union can have its own ups and downs, it will definitely be worth it. Those are all the messages I have for you today. I really enjoyed doing this reading, so perhaps if you're interested, I will do a part 2 about your person's love journey toward you. If you like, please share with us which step in your love journey you think you're at right now, and absolutely feel free to claim all the messages you would like. Please remember this is a general reading, so never fear if not every single message was for you. Also, as usual, I do want to remind you that we all have the ability to shape our own destinies and paths. So please feel empowered, because if there's something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. This reading is for those of you who have chosen the cherry blossom candle. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to your reading all about your love journey toward your soulmate. In the main portion of this reading, we will look at your tarot cards. Each card, in the order of how they come out for you, will represent a significant step within your love path towards your special person, ending with your soulmate union card. This union could refer to the moment when you and your person recognize that you are each other's soulmate, or it could be when you finally enter a committed relationship, or when you get married, or something else unique to you. There are a few different cards in the tarot deck that can be interpreted as a love union, so we will also look into the particular card that comes out for you and interpret what it means with respect to the nature of your connection with your person. And then to finish off your reading, we will get some wisdom from your oracle cards to help you figure out what to do now, or what to pay attention to, be careful of, or look forward to along your journey. Before we get into the cards, I would like to bring you some intuitive messages from this cherry blossom candle that you were drawn to. We can see that this candle is a rosy pinkish red color, and the cherry blossom here has 5 petals. I honestly think these candles are way too pretty to burn, but I'm sure it'll be beautiful lit up as well, so let's do it. The pinkish red color of this candle makes me think of love, of passion, courage, and attraction. These could be important concepts to many of you who chose this reading. Perhaps love and romance are very important parts of your identity or what you would like out of your life. The number 5 represents change and the strength to face and overcome challenges. I feel many of you who chose this reading are people who want to love passionately and fiercely, and as such, the kind of love between you and your soulmate is absolutely fiery and filled with chemistry. Change or challenges could be a strong theme within your love journey, but the universe only gives us challenges it knows we can handle. On the other hand, perhaps this means that you want to change so that you can become more brave. Perhaps this cherry blossom is trying to give you courage to go toward the love that you want and deserve. In Japan, the cherry blossom is a reminder of the idea that life is ephemeral, which means it does not last forever, so we should live in the moment and cherish the present and not let opportunities slip away. Combined with the messages of courage and love, it's as if this candle is encouraging you to seize the moment and dare to go forward and create and receive the love that you desire. And on the topic of things that are ephemeral, I am using the Tarot of the Little Prince today. And understanding ephemeral versus eternal is an important theme in the story of the Little Prince. This story talks about how a pilot crashes in the desert and meets a mysterious little prince who claims to be from a different planet. On his home planet, the little prince has a rose that he loves, but he did not know how to love her, so he left home and visited many planets, including the Earth. The little prince meets many interesting people and animals, and his journey eventually teaches him love and wisdom. The little prince learns that his beloved rose is ephemeral because roses and all flowers, after all, do not last very long. However, eventually the little prince understands that although his flower is ephemeral, his love for his flower is eternal. This kind of eternal love is what I imagine is in store for you and your soulmate. Love that lasts and endures many lifetimes. Even when your physical ephemeral bodies are gone, your love will continue to burn because it is eternal. With that said, let's get into your tarot cards now. The journey of the little prince reminds us that both life and love are journeys, so I hope these cards will bring us a lot of wisdom and insight for our reading today. I've already shuffled and random drawn all the cards that wanted to come out for you, so I can reveal all your cards in sequence first, and then we'll go into detail and interpret every card. I want to note that this love journey will not be your entire love journey. It will be only the portion of your love journey that pertains to your path toward your soulmate. Each of you watching at this very moment could be at a different stage within this love path. So when you figure out the step you are currently at, I hope you'll be able to find some reflection for the steps you may have already completed and some insight for what is still waiting for you. To start your journey, we have the 5 of Pentacles. Oh, what an interesting start. And then we have Judgment. Wow. And followed by the Chariot. Love this card. And then there is the Page of Wands. And next, the Page of Cups. And then we have the 5 of Cups. Oh no. Let's see what's next. Oh wow, the Knight of Cups. That's good. And then you have the 3 of Cups, which is followed by the Three of Wands, and then the Ace of Cups. Very lovely. Next we have the King of Cups. And finally, your soulmate union card is, wow, it's the Two of Cups. We shall start with your union card, which is our Two of Cups. This card represents a beautiful, harmonious, balanced love, which is all about partnership and coming together. A love connection symbolized by the Two of Cups is one that is built on respect, and the two partners truly honor each other and feel at peace with the dynamics of the relationship. Cups are full of love and emotion and spiritual connection, so your relationship with your soulmate is absolutely something wonderfully profound where the two of you are connected on a higher level. The traditional image on the Rider-Waite tarot deck shows two lovers exchanging cups and vows, so perhaps promises and marriage, and keeping your word with each other is something very important for many of you who chose this reading. If we look at the image on this card, we see the little prince watering his beloved rose. For this deck in particular, this Two of Cups makes me think of the importance of giving and receiving within a love connection. As we can see, the little prince is giving, and he is pouring his cup to nourish his rose, who is receiving. This does not mean that in your love relationship, one of you only gives while the other only takes. Instead, this card means to me that you and your person have found a perfect balance of how much you would like to each give and receive within your connection, and so you two are each other's perfect match because these needs for giving and receiving balance each other out. For example, one of you may be the provider type and you love nurturing and caring for the other. In this sense, the receiver graciously receives the giver's efforts, and their receptivity makes the giver feel loved in return. Perhaps one of you is normally very independent, and you might have trouble or do not like to rely on other people or do not like to accept outside help. But in this love connection, this person does feel comfortable with receiving and with relying on their partner, which makes the partner feel fulfilled by being able to provide and care. And it also makes the partner feel special because they are trusted and depended upon. The point this card is illustrating is that every relationship is different in the amount of giving and receiving each partner needs. It does not have to be perfectly 50-50, and in fact, it rarely is perfectly 50-50. The key is to find the healthy balance that satisfies both people's needs. And within your relationship with your soulmate, this balance flows so naturally because you two truly and deeply respect, care for, understand, and adore each other so much. This Two of Cups also shows how dedicated the little prince is toward his rose. So this tells us that within your love connection with your soulmate, the two of you are incredibly devoted and loyal, and there is no doubt in either of your minds of your love for each other. The Two of Cups in this Tarot of the Little Prince deck also makes me think of how true love is the only time where we experience as close to a perfect balance of selfishness and selflessness at the same time. We are selfish because we want to receive our partner's everything, to have our partner's love all to ourselves. We want to be their favorite person. We want to be the first to see their every smile and be the one to wipe away their every tear. But at the same time, we are selfless because we would never ask them to give their everything. And instead, we would gladly give our everything to them. And because your love connection is founded upon this wonderful balance, the two of you will really be able to enjoy being in the sweet spot between selfish and selfless. And honestly, that is truly magical. I also noticed that you have so many cups throughout your entire love journey. Since cups represent love, emotion, and spiritual connection, it is very clear that this relationship between you and your person is filled with this wonderful cups energy. Perhaps one of you or both of you have a lot of water sign influence in your chart, or it could be that you are empaths or the type of people who feel and love deeply. With all that said, let's start back at the beginning of this love journey. We have the Five of Pentacles. This is actually a card that talks about feeling lack or being left out in the cold. This is a time of hardship and struggles. If we look at the image on this card, we see that the pilot and the little prince are wandering in the desert, but just ahead of them, the well they're looking for is waiting for them. And like we mentioned before with your cherry blossom with 5 petals, 5 is the number for challenge, but also for change. At this starting point, where your love path begins heading towards your soulmate, you may be feeling like you're at one of the lowest points in your life. Perhaps you've just broken up with someone who was not meant for you. Or maybe you have been having no luck with dating and finding yourself getting stuck in the same kinds of toxic relationships or negative patterns. Other aspects of your life, such as your career or your family, may also be a bit of a mess and adding on to the challenges you already are facing. However, this marks the beginning of a new chapter in your life, a very important chapter because this is the start of your love journey to your soulmate. People say to not be afraid of hitting rock bottom because at this point, there is nowhere to go but up. And there's definitely a positive change waiting for you because the card that comes right after is the Judgment card. Here you must make a choice. This card is about leaving behind what no longer serves us and welcoming a new dawn. The previous challenge and hardship in your romantic career will inspire you to look within and make judgment on yourself and make an effort to understand your needs, your wants, and your boundaries. And by doing so, a big part of the burdens on your shoulders will drop, and you will feel so much lighter. We can see that on the image in this card, the little prince is floating in the air, and this momentum carries right into our next card, which is the Chariot. This is also the Cancer card, which is a sign full of emotion and connection. The Chariot represents forward movement, willpower, motivation, and triumph over obstacles. So many of you will be finding new inspiration in your love life. You could be receiving a lot of love offers, and this will be a summer of romance where the flowers are all in bloom and the sun is shining brightly. You will be feeling very good about yourself and your outlook on your love life. You could be meeting many new people and catching the eye of many a suitor. For a few of you, though, this could mean first contact with your soulmate at this step in your love journey, especially if your person is a Cancer, Sun, Moon, or Rising, or another water sign such as Scorpio or Pisces. It may be meeting in person, or one of you hearing about the other, or just your existence pops up on their radar or theirs on your radar. But this is still early in your journey, so you probably will not get together romantically with your person at this point. And actually, we have the Page of Wands that comes next, which can mean another love offer. This second person may be a fire sign, such as Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius, or they could just be someone who has fire qualities such as passion, creativity, boldness, and courage. For some of you, this Page of Wands could represent an awakening in your love life. This means creative sparks, curiosity, and the desire to explore and take risks and figure out what you like. Regardless, this Page of Wands step means you will probably not be seriously recognizing anyone as your soulmate at this time. Instead, some of you may be enjoying dating the plenty of fish in the sea, or for a few of you, you could be exploring a fiery passion or a more physical-based relationship with this Page of Wands person. For a few of you, instead of a competing love offer from another party, the creative spark energy from the Page of Wands could represent something else that draws your attention away from your soulmate, but in a positive and fulfilling way. For example, you may be happily investing more of your time into a hobby or passion of yours and really letting your creativity flow. For those of you who met your soulmate with the Chariot card step, this Page of Wands could even represent the fiery spark and magnetic attraction that you, your person, or both of you immediately feel toward each other. But our next card is the Page of Cups, and this Page of Cups looks to be your person officially showing up on your love radar, or the beginning of their romantic interest in you. For example, those of you who focused on your creative passions with the Page of Wands stage, perhaps you were so in your element and shining so brightly doing what you love that it caught the attention of your soulmate, and they have now taken an interest in you with the Page of Cups. Or your person may have been one of the people you dated during your Page of Wands phase, and you are now starting to feel something special toward them. Most likely, though, during this stage in your journey, you and your person will only be acquaintances or friends or entry-level dating, but one or both of you definitely already feel that strong connection between you two. Though even if this spark is felt, you or your person will probably not act on it at this point, because on this Page of Cups card in this deck, the image shows the character of the drunkard in the story of the Little Prince. This character drinks alcohol so that he can forget he is ashamed, but it turns out that what he is ashamed of is his drinking. With this drunkard, the concept of denial and trying to ignore or push down your feelings comes to mind. So perhaps due to inexperience or innocence or some other reasons such as past scars or baggage, while the magical spark is there, you two do not progress further in your connection at this point. And we actually have the Five of Cups that follows, which makes a lot of sense because this card is about a feeling of lost love or disappointment or regret. Some of you may be losing contact with your person at this stage for a variety of reasons. Others of you might even think that you and your soulmate have passed each other by, and you could be feeling very lost and sad and even beating yourself up for missing your opportunity. For a few of you who still may not recognize your soulmate as your soulmate yet at this point in time, you could actually have the hardest time here because you will be feeling this great sense of loss of love, but you don't even know why you're feeling it or where it's coming from. But with all that said, this is another 5, and 5 is an important number for this group. So this 5 marks the second important turning point for your love journey. This feeling of loss of love, of regret or disappointment is your wake-up call. Those of you who have yet to realize your person is indeed your person, you will be coming to that important understanding. During this step, many of you could be learning for the first time what true heartache or heartbreak feels like. But do not fear this, because only with the contrast of bitterness can we really understand and appreciate sweetness. And honestly, you have so much sweetness waiting for you, because with the Knight of Cups that follows, this is a beautiful, warm love offering. The Knight of Cups is my favorite knight in the tarot deck, especially for romance readings, because he represents the knight in shining armor who wears his heart on his sleeve and comes forward steadily with his cup of love. For this deck in particular, this knight is represented by the character of the merchant. In the story, the merchant sells a pill that quenches thirst so people can save time and take the pill instead of drinking water. The merchant makes the little prince come to the conclusion that instead of saving time, he wants to spend it in a meaningful way. This card represents a deep soul thirst that will be quenched. Either your person will see you as their drink of fresh, cool water on a hot summer's day, or you will see them in this way. Or for the luckiest of you, you will be this water to each other. Water was spilled and lost from the previous 5 of cups, but here is the knight offering his cup of water. And it might seem like ordinary water, but it will fulfill a very deep desire within your or your person's heart. For the most of you, here is where you and your person will make your love interest in each other known or established. For a lot of you, I feel this will be your person who will confess their feelings to you first. And it is really all just smooth sailing from here on out, because the 3 of Cups that follows represents celebration and joy and happiness. Interestingly enough, the image on this card shows when the pilot and the little prince find the well in the desert and quench their thirst. So like how we saw with the Knight of Cups, although he is only offering you one modest cup, which represents these humble feelings of love, the receiver feels like the cup's water is infinite, as if it were a well. The 3 of Cups also represents friendship and companionship. This could mean that you and your person will really be spending some time to enjoy each other's company. Perhaps you do not jump straight into a love relationship, and instead you build your friendship first. But this is really the best foundation for you, because only the luckiest among us can have our lover and our best friend be the same person. I do want to note though, for those of you who do start with a friendship connection, there will definitely still be a lot of flirtation and chemistry and playful tension between the 2 of you. Following this 3 of Cups, we have the 3 of Wands. This card is all about expansion, exploring new uncharted territory, and communication. Wands are also fire energy, so there will definitely be a growing attraction, both emotional and physical too, of course, between you and your person. You two will also become better at communicating, and for you on a personal level as well, this is where you will be discovering, solidifying, and expressing some of your important boundaries when it comes to how you want to love and be loved. Coming next is our Ace of Cups. Here is yet another confirmation for the idea of overflowing and abundant water, the offering of pure love, passion, and intimacy. This Ace of Cups can represent the beginning of a romantic relationship. So for those of you who were just friends or flirting before, here is where you and your person will solidify your love connection. For others of you, this can represent when you begin to truly become intimate with one another and let down your walls and open up. During this phase, you can look forward to many beautiful heart-to-heart type conversations and moments. I also see the transformation of caterpillars into butterflies on this card. So this is another confirmation for the evolution of your connection at this step in your journey. For a few of you, butterflies could be of significance, or you may be seeing them as a sign to assure you that you are on the right track with your love journey. Finally, the penultimate card is the King of Cups. This card represents a wise, a mature, and a deep love in which both you and your person understand, accept, protect, and care for each other. At this point in your journey, you will be enjoying a stable, secure love relationship full of trust, intimacy, and mutual understanding. You and your person will know each other so well that you are on the same wavelength. This King of Cups is represented by the little prince himself, and he embodies the courage to love and the wisdom to be loved. If we look closely at the image, the king is surrounded by so many beautiful roses, but only his special rose is in his cup. and he holds his hand over his heart to represent his devotion to only his one rose. I also notice that his rose is gray while all the other roses are red. This makes me think of in sickness and in health, through the good and also the bad, the little prince is dedicated to his rose. And even after your physical bodies die, when this lifetime is over, the love between you and your person will continue to live on. Again, this is a reiteration of the ephemeral physical body versus your eternal love. And this beautiful energy is what brings us into your final Two of Cups union. You have so much wonderful Cups energy, and as you go along your love journey, we see that the immature Page of Cups turns into the Knight of Cups and finally levels up to the ultimate King of Cups, which allows you to come into union with your soulmate. These tarot cards have illustrated your love path step by step towards your person. For this next part of your reading, we will get some guidance and advice to help you figure out what you should do now or what to pay attention to or look out for. So let's delve into these oracle cards and see what other messages they have for you. Starting with Sensual Awakening. Ooh. And there is She is the Moon. There's also the last quarter moon in Leo with the message Lighten Up. And last but not least, you got the new moon in Aquarius with Open Up to Change. Wow, right away the message of opening up to change is drawing me in. Like we mentioned earlier, for this group, change is an important theme within your love journey towards your soulmate. For those of you who are resistant toward change, here is your advice. Things that are new or unfamiliar may be a little scary or make you feel a lack of security. But as we saw with your tarot cards, within your love journey towards your person, some key turning points involve change and evolution. One of these aspects of evolution could be the sensual awakening. This is very exciting. Sensuality includes physical chemistry and exploring and figuring out what you like, but it is also something deeper, such as how you sense and experience the world and how you sense and experience your love journey. This card can also be confirming for you that your love connection with your person will be filled with passion and sensual connection such that you will feel awakened. Compared to a sexual awakening, a sensual one is much more elegant, refined, and it goes beyond the surface. I am very excited for you to experience this, and to give you a bit of an idea for the timing, for most of you, this awakening will coincide with your Page of Wands step. I also noticed that the image on this card shows a clash of two different energies. One energy is this purple-blue swirl, and the other energy is this orange-yellow spiral. This is making me think of a conflict of sorts, such as the conflict between something stable and familiar and calm versus something new and exciting and passionate. It could also be the conflict between the desires of your heart versus those of your body, or what you want versus what you actually need. This sensual awakening could be interpreted as the awakening of your senses, which can definitely include your sixth sense. During this awakening, many of you will be learning to be more in tune with all your senses, which can mean a lot of growth with respect to listening to your intuition and allowing it to guide you in your love journey. And speaking of this intuition and inner wisdom, you do have the card, She is the Moon. As many of you may already know, the moon is very important to me and to this channel. The moon represents ancient divine wisdom of looking within, of shadow work, as well as intuition and the divine feminine. The moon also waxes and wanes as it moves through its cycle. in this respect, I have two messages from this card. The first is the reminder that, like the moon's phases, things change. There are times when the moon is full and love is abundant, but also there are times when the moon is new and invisible, and so we may have to have faith that it will grow full again. For when you are in a phase of your love journey where you are facing difficult challenges, or when you're feeling heartache and heartbreak, such as during your 5 of Cups step, or right at the beginning when you are feeling left out in the cold and a lack of love with your 5 of Pentacles, do trust that the season will change, and after a cold, harsh winter, abundant spring will come. And like we see with the message of the last quarter moon in Leo, even when things appear bleak or at their lowest point, you can choose to drown in it a little if it feels right, or you can choose to release it and lighten up your burden. In fact, it is all right and often healthy to let yourself experience and express sadness and negative emotions so that they can be released and so that you can take a load off your shoulders and lighten up a little. The second message from the She is the Moon card talks about becoming more in touch with your inner divine feminine. Regardless of gender, we can all have divine feminine and divine masculine within us. Divine feminine is about feeling, receiving, nurturing, and finding strength in our own softness. Divine feminine is about intuition and creation and nature and regeneration. It is also about experiencing the world through your senses and allowing yourself to awaken sensually. If we really boil it down, understanding and accepting your own inner divine feminine is really the moral behind the story of our entire love journey. Because the purpose of this love journey is to learn the lesson of how to give love and how to nurture another, as well as the equally important lesson of how to receive love and see yourself as worthy of receiving this love. In the bigger picture, our love journey is about learning how to hear and follow our heart, and how to feel emotions, and how to be soft and vulnerable with ourselves and with our soulmate. If we really think about it, universally, all who want love must learn the lesson of the divine feminine. For those of you who want more clues to help you determine if someone is your soulmate, this card has the answer. When you're with your special person, you will feel your softness awaken. You could feel naked and vulnerable, but taking off your armor is the only way to truly let your person in. You may feel emotional or even irrational, but often love does not follow logic, but it does absolutely follow intuition. It may be scary to release and let go and give up control and allow yourself to simply receive and feel, but it is all part of the journey. When you find yourself getting stuck in your head, overthinking, doubting yourself, second-guessing your gut, do take a moment, slow down, and tap into this divine feminine energy. As for some timing clues, Aquarius season in February or Leo season in August could be some important periods for your love journey. And I noticed that these two seasons represent both the coldest winter weather in February as well as the hottest summer days of August. Again, I'm seeing the theme of the changing seasons, highs and lows, and the waxing and waning moon. So for those of you who really need to hear this when time comes, trust that even if it feels like the dead of winter, the vitality and the passion of summer is definitely in the cards for you. Even when you are feeling left out in the cold, be assured the winds of change are ever in your favor, and you have all this beautiful, loving, and connected cups energy waiting for you. Those are all the messages I have for you today. I really enjoyed doing this reading, so perhaps if you'd like, I will do a part 2 about your person's love journey toward you. If you like, please share with us which step in your love journey you think you're at right now, and absolutely feel free to claim all the messages that resonate. Please remember this is a general reading, so no worries if not every single message was for you. Also, as always, I do want to remind you that we have the ability to shape our own destinies and paths. So please feel empowered, because if there's something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence it and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and please feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. This reading is for those of you who have chosen the yellow buttercup candle. Thank you for joining me and welcome to your reading all about your love journey toward your soulmate. For the first portion of this reading, we will look at your tarot cards. Each card, in the order of how they come out, will represent a significant step along your love path, ending with your soulmate union card. This final union may symbolize something different for every one of you watching, such as the moment when you and your person accept that you are each other's soulmate, or when you finally enter a committed relationship, or when you two get married, or otherwise finally come together. There are several cards in the tarot deck that can be interpreted as a love union, so we'll also look into the particular card that comes out for you and what it says about the nature of your connection with your person. And then in the second part of the reading, we will get some insight from a few oracle cards to answer questions like what you should do now, or things to be careful of, what to look forward to, and pay attention to along your love journey. I shall start us off by getting some intuitive messages from this buttercup candle that you have chosen. We can see that this candle is a beautiful golden yellow, and the buttercup here has 6 petals. I am definitely a little reluctant to burn it because it's so pretty, but we shall light your flame. There are many species of buttercups, and they have different numbers of petals. The most common buttercup has 5 petals, but yours on this candle has 6. The number 6 symbolizes peace and harmony, especially after overcoming challenges and hardships that come with the number 5. 6 represents the calm after the storm, the newly gained clarity after working through difficult lessons. 6 also means problem solving and being rewarded for your efforts in facing and resolving hardships. This lovely golden yellow reminds me of warmth and sunshine and feelings of happiness and positivity. And similarly, the buttercup represents joy, humility, and the yellow buttercup in particular symbolizes a childish carefreeness or childlike innocence. I want to interpret this in 2 ways. For some of you, this could mean that you and your soulmate may be childhood friends, or perhaps you first met when you were kids. The second meaning could be referring to the energy within this connection with your soulmate. Perhaps with each other, you two feel comfortable enough to be silly and playful and giddy like little kids. Especially for those of you who are usually more mature and who may have had to take on a lot of responsibility even from a young age, this love with your soulmate makes you feel a second youth full of freshness, vitality, and a sense of carefreeness that you may not have had the chance to enjoy before. And considering all these messages together, I am getting the feeling of being able to go back to the common, simple, beautiful, especially as a reward for being able to step up and overcome challenges along your path. This means for some of you who may have a past negative pattern of a lot of drama or toxicity in your romantic relationships, by learning your lesson and growing and evolving, your connection and union with your soulmate will finally be that simple and beautiful pure love, full of ease and lightness and warmth. For others of you, perhaps this beautiful ray of sunshine and purity represents how you see your soulmate or how your soulmate sees you as their blessing, because you are just radiating this warmth and golden light. And since the idea of the number 6 carries a focus on the peace after the storm, it is likely that for a lot of you who picked this reading, your love journey could be quite eventful with important challenges. However, you will be rewarded with this beautiful energy of peace and joy and light for all of your efforts. Let's now get into your tarot cards. I am using the Tarot of the Little Prince today, and this deck is based on one of my favorite stories. For those who haven't read the story, it talks about how a pilot crashes in the desert and meets a mysterious little prince who claims to be from a different planet. On his home planet, the little prince has a rose that he loves, but he did not know how to love her, so he left home and visited many planets including the Earth. Along the way, he meets people and animals, and the journey eventually teaches him love and wisdom. The journey of the little prince reminds us that life is a journey, and love is a journey too. So I think this deck is a perfect fit for our reading today. I've already shuffled and drawn all the cards that wanted to come out for you, so I can go right ahead and reveal all your cards in sequence first, and then we will go into detail and interpret each card. Every one of you watching at this moment could be at a different stage along your love path. So when you figure out the step you are currently at, I hope the cards can help you reflect on the path you've already completed and bring you some insight for what is still waiting for you. To start your journey, we have the 9 of Cups. Wow, what a lovely place to begin. And then we have the Ace of Cups. Wow, another lovely card. Next, there is the 2 of Swords. Okay, that's very interesting. And it is followed by the 5 of Cups. Then you have the 2 of Wands, and then the 9 of Pentacles. Coming up next is the Death card. Ooh. And then we have the Ace of Pentacles. And lastly, I have these 2 cards clipped together because they came out together, and you got the 6 of Cups and also the 2 of Cups. Wow. Okay, let's talk about your union cards first. Both the 6 of Cups and 2 of Cups are considered love union cards. I promise I shuffled the cards really well, so the fact that you got these 2 cards coming out together to represent your soulmate union, I see that your connection with your soulmate is extremely strong and deep and powerful. Don't tell the other groups, but you are the only group who got 2 soulmate union cards coming out together. The 6 of Cups is often seen as a true soulmate card that represents a connection that transcends lifetimes because it talks about nostalgia and familiarity and past life relationships. This card also talks about childhood innocence, so in this respect, I am reminded of the initial messages we got from your buttercup candle. Actually, I'm just noticing now that you got the buttercup with 6 petals, and here we have the 6 of Cups, and I am loving this double confirmation here. So I'm quite certain that your soulmate would either be your lover in a past life, or someone who is a childhood friend, or who you met when you were young. It may also be that you have such a strong connection immediately when you first meet that it feels like you have known each other for your whole lives. Again, there is a childlike playfulness and youthful vibrancy about this Six of Cups soulmate card. So this means you or your person, or both of you, will have this kind of pure and flirty and adoring love energy within your connection. Looking closer at the image on the Six of Cups card, we see that this is when the little prince receives a drawing of a box from the pilot. The little prince had asked the pilot to draw him a sheep, but he was not happy with the many different sheep the pilot tried to draw for him. So finally the pilot drew him a box and told him that the exact shape he wanted was inside the box. The little prince, who was full of imagination of a child, was extremely happy and satisfied with the box because he saw that his perfect sheep was in fact inside. This feeling of true satisfaction and happiness from receiving the gift of each other represents your soulmate union. You and your person see each other as the perfect sheep that you have always been searching for. Just like how the little prince did not like the first few sheep the pilot drew for him, it may be that you or your person might have had previous romantic relationships that did not quite fit, but in the end you were able to find each other and finally feel this satisfaction and contentment. At the same time, you also had the Two of Cups come out together with the Six of Cups. Both of these are cups energy, which represent water that is full of emotion, intuition, and of course, love. Perhaps you or your person may have a water sign as your sun, moon, rising, or Venus. The Two of Cups as a union card represents a harmonious, balanced, match made in heaven kind of love, which is all about partnership. This love is built on mutual respect, and there is a profound emotional and even spiritual connection between you and your person. For this deck in particular, this Two of Cups has an image of the little prince watering his beloved rose. The little prince takes care of his rose, and his rose receives his love. This talks about the act of giving and receiving within a love connection. Whether you or your person prefers to give or receive more, or give and receive equally, you two have found a perfect balance of the amount of giving and receiving you each want within this relationship. And so you are each other's perfect match because your needs are balanced. This Two of Cups also depicts the little prince's devotion toward his rose, so it's quite clear that the two of you are incredibly dedicated and loyal to each other. With both the Six of Cups and the Two of Cups coming out together as your union cards, I can tell that there is such a deep and powerful connection that endures many lifetimes. Perhaps you, your person, or both of you will feel the strong bond right away upon your first meeting. And it's highly likely that for many of you who chose this reading, you or your person may be able to tell right away that you are soulmates. Or perhaps you'll feel it in your intuition, but you may not make the logical conclusion right away. However, your souls will absolutely recognize each other, which gives you this sense of nostalgia or an unexplainable comfort or familiarity. Group 2 with the cherry blossom candle also had some similar energies, so please feel free to watch that reading too if you were also drawn to it. So now that we have understood your union, let's go back to the beginning of your love journey. This start of the journey is not the start of your entire love journey. This is specifically the start of when your love journey begins to head toward union with your soulmate. And for this beginning, we have the wonderful Nine of Cups. This card represents abundance, satisfaction, joy, and wishes fulfilled. This energy reminds me again of the warm, radiant golden yellow of the buttercup candle, which also gave us messages of happiness and contentment. And actually we can see that the little prince is wearing a golden scarf that is the color of our buttercup candle. This is saying to me that you will be in a good place within your personal life when your love path begins to move towards your soulmate. For example, maybe some of you will be on the right track with your career or academics and you will be feeling accomplished. Perhaps you will be content in your family life and feeling abundant and fulfilled in your relationships with your family and friends. It could also be that you are feeling good internally about where you're at with respect to your personal development. Many of you would have had some experience in love already at this point, but while your past relationships may not have lasted, they taught you important things about what you want and need in love, which is why you are feeling like you are in a good place in your romantic career. For me, the Nine of Cups is just as lovely and abundant and full of love and positive energy as the Ten of Cups, which is also a soulmate union card that represents ultimate and complete fulfillment. However, the Nine of Cups is just one cup short of becoming this Ten of Cups. The one missing cup represents your romantic partner, but I want to point out that with the Nine of Cups, you are not feeling lack of not having your love relationship. Quite the opposite, really, because you are drawing fulfillment from all the other kinds of love and abundance that you already have in your life. Also on the image, we see that behind the little prince is a wall of roses. In the story, the little prince believes his rose on his home planet is absolutely special and unique, but on Earth he discovers a garden full of roses that look just like his rose. At first, this makes the little prince sad because he learned that his rose was not unique after all. But eventually he comes to the realization that his rose is in fact still unique and special to him because of their love and connection. At the start of your journey toward your soulmate, you will be feeling this rose garden full of love and abundance from all the things that are going right in your life. However, you will sense that your one special rose is not yet yours. Some of you who are more in tune with your intuition may recognize that this is what you are looking for, but many of you may not come to this conclusion yet at this point. Either way, at this first step in your love journey toward your soulmate, you will be in a positive and abundant mindset, and you will be ready to find your one cup that contains your special rose. And speaking of your one missing cup, here it is coming in for you as the Ace of Cups. Perhaps many of you who chose this reading understand and grasp the power of manifestation, because the positive energy and abundance in your first step was able to attract and manifest exactly what you wanted with this Ace of Cups, which represents a new and true love offering. Like we saw earlier, it's possible that some of you may have already met your soulmate when you were younger or you were childhood friends. So if this is your case, this Ace of Cups step is when the romantic connection first establishes or becomes known between you two. This could mean that you or your person would be confessing their romantic interest or feelings for the other. For those of you who are meeting your person for the first time here, you will be experiencing this powerful, deep, overflowing connection right away. Some of you may not realize it at first, but even so, you won't be able to deny that there is a magnetic force that seems to draw you to them and them to you. However, this Ace of Cups is followed by the Two of Swords. This card represents a stalemate or lack of progression, especially due to indecision or confusion. We can also see that on the image of this card, the little prince's scarf is covering his eyes. So this means there is something that may be blinding you or keeping you from moving forward. There's also a sense of denial from the Two of Swords. Here you are faced with a decision of whether to step into this love connection or not. However, the swords are held in crossed arms, almost as if you are protecting yourself and saying no to making the decision. If we look closer at this card, we can see that the fox is on one side of the little prince. In the story, the fox represents wisdom and forming a true connection with another. However, it almost looks as if the little prince is leaning away from the fox ever so slightly, so this makes me feel that there is a rejection toward forming the true connection between you and your soulmate at this point in time. Or it could just be that this indecision to make a choice ends up giving the sense of rejection, because not making a choice can often be interpreted as your choice. This leaning away or hesitation could represent either you or your person. For some reason, while you both feel your strong, overwhelming connection, something is keeping one or both of you from accepting your feelings and moving forward together. Perhaps some of you may be a little bit scared by how powerful your connection feels right from the get-go. Maybe one of you has been hurt in the past, and so you are more cautious, especially toward the beginning. The card that follows, however, is the Five of Cups, and this card talks about lost love and disappointment and regret. This tells us that for many of you, the hesitation or denial from the previous Two of Swords will create a feeling of a rift between you and your person. A few of you may even fully lose contact with your person at this time, but the majority of you will continue to be in touch, but just feel a deep sense of loss or lack due to the absence of progression in your connection. When it comes to love relationships, not moving forward does not mean staying still. Instead, it feels like going backwards. Some of you may be feeling quite insecure or anxious here, and many of you could be getting your first taste of what true heartache or heartbreak or missing someone feels like. Especially for those of you who have not realized that this person is your person, there could be added confusion and frustration of why you feel this deep sense of loss. Fortunately, this seemingly illogical or unreasonable sadness and heartache does not last, because we see that the card that comes next is the Two of Wands. This is a more mature and logical energy that talks about regaining your bearings and evaluating your circumstances and weighing your options and prospects in hopes of making a decision. Compared to the Two of Swords from before, which represents indecision, this Two of Wands shows growth, because it signifies the intention to address your options, consider them seriously with the aim to finally make your choice. Interestingly enough, the card that comes next is the Nine of Pentacles. This card talks about focusing on self-love and feeling abundant on your own. At this stage, it looks like many of you will be putting your effort and energy into loving yourself and taking care of your own needs. This Nine of Pentacles represents understanding and appreciating the wealth that you already have. And I really like this progression of events because it tells us that you will be resetting and regaining your positive energy and positive attitude. And like we saw before with the Nine of Cups bringing in the Ace of Cups immediately to you, you guys are powerful manifestors. Getting back into your high vibration energy will allow you to further manifest your desired connection with your soulmate. This energy is quite similar to what we saw in your first step with the Nine of Cups. In fact, in both of these cards, we can see that the little prince is surrounded by the Garden of Roses. However, compared to Cups energy, Pentacles are earth, and earth energy is more grounded and practical and tangible. In this respect, while it may feel a bit like you have come back to square one, you in fact have grown and you have changed. But just like before when you manifested your Ace of Cups, looking ahead in the cards, I see that the Ace of Pentacles is coming very soon. But this time there is one important hurdle that is still in your way, and that is the Death card. While the Death card is about endings, it is also about the new beginnings that follow. It is about rebirth and transformation, and it means changing something important. Looking at the image on this card, we see the little prince is lying in the desert night, and the snake down here has just bitten him, and he is looking up at the stars, which are reminding him of his rose who he loves. In the story, after learning his lessons, the little prince misses his rose and wishes to go back home. The snake tells him that his poisonous bite has the power to send him home. The little prince was afraid, of course, but he still decided to do it because he longed to go home to his rose. This death card represents the courage to face our fears and our shadow self. It represents the acceptance of love and the bravery to welcome it and chase after it. This step may be considered a dark night of the soul, but it will bring some important heart-to-heart moments either within yourself or with your person. But you will be able to work through it. Your past baggage will finally be a burden off your shoulders, and your past negative patterns will finally be changed. Whatever was holding you or your person back and making you pull away from each other or hesitate will finally be released. You will probably be afraid because letting your walls down and giving your heart to someone else can be one of the scariest things you ever do. But for every ounce of fear, you will be rewarded tenfold, hundredfold, with love and warmth. So even if you are scared, you know in your heart that this is the right path. And as we can see, the beautiful Ace of Pentacles is waiting for you on the other side. This card is a new beginning, full of abundance, prosperity, and reward for your hard work. It is earth energy, so it represents building solid foundations that can withstand the test of time. The image on this card shows a sheep in the desert. Everything is barren and dry, except there is one flower sprouting from the ground. This card says that after releasing everything that was holding you back, you and your person will finally face each other sincerely, without any armor, and bearing your all to each other. You will be seeing each other for who you each really are, and you will be building something solid and strong and beautiful together. And this lovely little sprout grows and blooms into your soulmate union with the Six of Cups and the Two of Cups. These tarot cards have told us the significant steps of your love journey towards your person. And now that we have interpreted all the cards, perhaps you are looking for some guidance or advice to help you figure out how to proceed now or where to go from where you are. So let's take a look at your oracle cards to give us some insight. For your first card, you have Hidden Beauty. And also there is Ethereal Touch. You have as well New Moon in Gemini with Think It Through. And there is the Full Moon in Aquarius with the message Be Real. And it looks like not only were you the only group that got 2 Soulmate Union cards, you were also the only group that got 3 Moonology cards instead of 2. So perhaps this last card really wanted to make sure you received this message, and it is the last quarter moon in Capricorn telling you to leave the past behind. Wow, I think it makes a lot of sense with what we saw earlier about possible past baggage or negative patterns and hurt that you or your person may have experienced. Holding on to the past can be one major blockage that prevents the blessings meant for you from coming to you. After the completion of the last quarter moon comes the next new moon. And as such, only by leaving what no longer serves you in the past can you welcome your new beginning. The manifestation affirmation that goes along with this card is the only way out is through. And I think this affirmation is very reminiscent of the death card from your love journey. The only way out of your inner storm is to endure through it. The only way to treat a splinter is to withstand the pain of pulling it out so that you can heal. Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, is often considered a rather tough sign that will test you and what you're made of. But after the last quarter moon, the new moon arrives, and you have the new moon in Gemini. The message in the guidebook fits very well with what we have seen with your love journey, so please allow me to read it for you here. A positive outcome lies ahead. However, to take this opportunity from the ethers and make it real, you need a positive mindset. On some level, you already know how to get what you want. Use your smarts. Think it through. Look for the signposts about what to do next. Ask, what am I expecting? Focus on positive expectations. Expectations attract. If you're having doubts, talk to someone. Make a list of your goals. There's a way through. Use your mind and your words to help others see things your way. And as for the manifesting focus, this card is an especially good sign for matters related to a flirtatious situation, anything written, an upset you've had, or a relationship that feels blocked. This card is giving us two pieces of advice. The first is another confirmation of what we saw earlier with the positive energy and mindset of the Nine of Cups and the Nine of Pentacles. Like attracts like, and positive energy is the key to manifesting more positivity. When you find yourself during a moment of loss or heartache, remember that going back to your high energy place is within your power and the power of your mind. As well, returning to a state of remembering, acknowledging, and appreciating what you do have is exactly what you need to manifest what you desire going forward with your soulmate. The second piece of advice is about speaking your mind and communication, because Gemini is an air sign that is ruled by the intellectual and communicative planet Mercury. When your love connection seems to be blocked, or when you reach a stalemate or impasse with your person, communicating to dispel misunderstandings and clear up conflicts would be a good way to approach. And your third Moonology card is a full moon in Aquarius with a message to be real. The advice from this card is clear. Be real with yourself and be real with your person. This means listening to and following what your heart and intuition truly want for you. This also means taking off any masks and armor you may be hiding behind and showing your real self to your person. Oftentimes, when we fall in love with someone, it's easy to want to change yourself to become who you think they want you to be. But the problem is, if you turn into someone that's not really who you are and who you want to be, then even if the other person falls in love with this version of you, it's not the real you. Full moons represent climaxes and crucial moments along your path. This means that being the real you will play a key role in these important moments. You also have two Journey of Love Oracle cards. Hidden Beauty with the number 45 and Ethereal Touch with the number 27. Both 45 and 27 have digits that add up to 9. For me, the number 9 is the number of old souls. There is a lot of wisdom and experience and seasoned maturity in this number. Perhaps you or your person is the old soul type, and since there are two 9s here, for some of you, this could be referring to you and your soulmate being past life lovers, and hence you are old and familiar souls to each other. Even upon your initial meeting, your souls could recognize each other and resonate deeply. I am drawn by the beautiful colors and energy of this Ethereal Touch card. This is further confirmation that there is something about you that touches deeply the heart of your soulmate, and in turn, there is something about them that touches you as well. There's also confirmation in this card that you have divine protection guiding and watching over your love connection. When you are feeling lost, this divine touch will nudge you in the right direction. Looking more closely at the Hidden Beauty card, There are a few ways I want to interpret this. For some, this means your soulmate is someone who sees beauty in you, even if it is hidden from others or even from yourself. It could also be vice versa, where you're the one who sees this beauty in your person. This figure drawn on this card is naked, which reminds me of what we mentioned earlier about taking off your armor and baring your all to each other. It may be scary to wear your heart on your sleeve and to shed all your defenses, but because of your deep soul connection, you and your person will be able to see each other's beauty hiding beneath the surface. Another way to interpret this card is that there is more that meets the eye within your love situation. Perhaps it may seem negative or hopeless at times, but there is a hidden, more beautiful perspective waiting for you to discover. This is what we say about shadow work and lessons that challenge us. They appear to simply torment us, but hidden deeper we understand that they aim to help us to grow and evolve. There is a lovely poem in the guidebook for this card, and I would like to read it for you. It says, "When I close my eyes at night, I see your face, your lips, the brush of your hair across your brow, the down of your skin soft against my touch. My love grows in the solitude, listening for the morning light and you." There is so much gentle, soft, adoring energy in this poem, and this is the way your soulmate sees you, as a treasure that they want to caress gently. Even if you are apart, they see you when they close their eyes. Even when you are apart, the absence makes their heart grow fonder. This is because you two share an undeniable soul connection. Perhaps some of you really need to hear this message right now, so let this card be your confirmation. Those are all the messages I have for you today. Thank you so much for allowing me to do this reading, and if you're interested, I would love to do a part 2 about your person's love journey toward you. If you like, please share with us which step in your love journey you think you're at right now, and absolutely feel free to claim all the blessings that resonate. Please remember, this is a general reading, so please don't worry if not every single message was for you. Also, as per usual, I do want to remind you that we all have the ability to shape our own destinies and paths. So please feel empowered, because if there is something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the power to influence and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. This reading is for those of you who have chosen the blue hydrangea candle. Thank you for joining me, and welcome to your reading all about your love journey towards your soulmate. Our reading today will have 2 portions. For the first tarot part, each card in the order of how they come out for you will represent a notable step along your love path, ending with your soulmate union card. This union could symbolize something different for every one of you watching, such as the moment when you and your person accept that you're each other's soulmate, or when you finally enter a committed relationship, or when you get married. There are several cards in the tarot deck that can be interpreted as a love union, so we will also look into the particular card that comes out for you and what it means with respect to the nature of your connection with your soulmate. And then for the oracle part of the reading, we will get some insight to answer questions like what you should do now, or what to pay attention to, what to look forward to or be careful of along your way through your love journey. To start things off, I would like to get some intuitive messages from the hydrangea candle that you have chosen. We can see that this candle is a beautiful blue, and the hydrangea has 4 petals. It is so pretty I can barely bring myself to print it, but let's go ahead and ignite your flame. The hydrangea has many meanings in the language of flowers. It signifies deep and sincere emotion. It's interesting that you were drawn to this blue hydrangea candle because blue hydrangeas can also mean a heartfelt apology or gratitude for understanding. Hydrangeas have long history in Asia, and legend has it that the blue hydrangea in particular was gifted by a Japanese emperor to the family of the woman he loved. He gave the hydrangeas to signify his humble and sincere apology for neglecting the woman because he was preoccupied with his duties. The blue hydrangeas not only represented his regret for not spending more time adoring and cherishing her, it also represented how much and how deeply he truly cared for her and how he will change his actions to show his love for her from then on. A few different messages are coming through for this blue hydrangea. For some of you, perhaps you or your person may be someone who appears cold or emotionless on the outside, but in truth on the inside, there is deep emotion and profound feelings and an incredible ability to love and experience love. Or perhaps this frigidity is how your person appears to the rest of the world and everyone else. But only toward you do they show their true warm and beating heart, and you're the only one they trust to reveal their real, raw self. The second interpretation coming to mind is the idea of the apology. It is possible that for some of you watching, somewhere along your love journey, you will either neglect or feel neglected by your person, and you or they sincerely want to apologize because neglecting each other and ignoring your connection is not what either of you wants. Like how the emperor neglected the woman he loved because he had to focus his time on his duties, it's likely that this neglect between you and your person will not stem from either of your intentions, but instead it will be due to circumstance. For example, perhaps at a certain point in your relationship, one of you will be dealing with difficult challenges in other aspects of your life, such as family or career, which results in having to put your love on the back burner. Oh, it is also possible for a few of you watching that this apology is actually the message your person wants you to hear right now at this moment in time. Or perhaps it is you who have been wanting to apologize to your person for something, and this message is calling you out to stop putting it off and to go and take action. There are 4 petals on the hydrangea, and the number 4 represents stability, perseverance, and protection. This means your connection with your soulmate is one built upon solid foundations. Neither of you are willing to give the other up, so even through difficult times, your love will not burn out. As well, since hydrangeas also symbolize profound and sincere emotion, I am quite certain that you and your soulmate share deep feelings for each other. You understand each other, feel for each other, and you are willing to accept and forgive each other for your mistakes. It looks like this is a very wise, mature, and honest love in which both people recognize that the other and themselves are not perfect. Yet, even with your imperfections, both people see and appreciate the other as their perfect partner. With all that said, we shall look into your tarot cards now. I am using the Tarot of the Little Prince today, and this is one of my favorite stories that talks about how a pilot crashes in the desert and meets a mysterious little prince who claims to be from a different planet. On his home planet, the little prince has a rose that he loves, but he did not know how to love her, so he left home and visited many planets, including the Earth, and he met people and animals, and his journey eventually teaches him love and wisdom. This journey of the little prince reminds us that our life and love are journeys, so I feel this deck is the perfect one to use for today's reading about your love journey. I have already shuffled and collected all the cards that wanted to come out for you, so we will go right ahead and reveal all your cards in sequence first, and then we'll interpret every card in detail. I want to note that this love journey will not be your entire love journey. It is only the portion of your love journey that pertains to your path towards your soulmate. This also means each of you watching at this very moment could be at a different stage along this love path. So when you figure out which step you're currently at, I hope you'll be able to find some reflection for the part of the path you've already walked, as well as some insight for what is still to come. To begin your journey, you have the Five of Cups. Interesting way to start. And then you got the Wheel. And it is followed by the Justice card. And then there is the Ace of Swords. Next, you have the Ace of Pentacles, followed by the Knight of Wands. After that, there is the Five of Swords, and then we have the Eight of Swords. Next, we go into the Nine of Pentacles, and it is followed by the Queen of Pentacles. Next, you got the Six of Wands. Lovely energy here. And that brings us to your final union card, which is, wow, the Ten of Cups. Let's break down your union card first. You got the Ten of Cups, which is often considered the happily ever after card. Cups represent emotion, love, and spiritual connection. So this Ten of Cups means absolute happiness and fulfillment and connectedness in love. The Ten of Cups also signifies gratitude, abundance, true contentment of the heart, and perfection of love and companionship. It is thought of as the wonderful marriage and happy family card. In the traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck, the image on this card shows a happy couple and their children dancing under a rainbow. Similarly, on the image for this deck, we see the little prince back on his home planet. He is reunited with his rose that he loves, and also he's together with his friend the wise fox and the sheep he received from his friend the pilot. Since you got this card as your final union card, it's likely that many of you will have this union as being married to your soulmate, starting a family with them, or otherwise feeling filled with a sense of belonging and like you are exactly where you're meant to be. For a lot of you, marriage or building a family may be something very important to you or your person. You could dream of having kids or pets, or both kids and pets. Cups also represent spiritual energy, so this means your union with your soulmate is not only on a physical and emotional level, it is also on a higher level as well. And since the Ten of Cups signifies completion and fulfillment and abundance, you and your soulmate will have everything you both want and need in your relationship. One thing I do want to mention about the Ten of Cups, compared to the other cards in the tarot deck that can represent a love union, the Ten of Cups for me is happiness achieved after hard work and effort, because before the Ten of Cups comes the journey from the Ace of Cups through to the Nine of Cups. It is likely that while your union will be wonderful and fulfilling and exactly what both of you need and want, you may have to first go through some ups and downs. However, with that said, it is a good thing because the lessons you learn and the experiences you gain will all help to shape who you become. They will also help you to really appreciate what you create together. In the story of the little prince, he leaves his home to go on his adventure, but once he learns the lessons meant for him to learn, all he wants is to return home to the rose that he loves. On this Ten of Cups card, the little prince is back on his home planet and he is reunited with his rose. Your soulmate union will feel like coming home after your long adventure, because home is where the heart is and your hearts are with each other. Perhaps even from early on in your relationship, you may feel this sense of comfort and ease and security. Your person makes you feel very safe and warm, especially being in their arms. It's as if you can just feel all your tensions immediately melt away. And this is something very special, particularly for the few of you who tend to be quite guarded or icy and who might not open up your hearts easily. When you are with your person, everything just flows easily and you feel safe to let your walls come down. I also am feeling very inclined to say that for those of you who had previous love relationships that did not work out before meeting your soulmate, it very well could be because those previous relationships lacked this feeling of home. Perhaps everything else seemed right on paper, but even if you didn't consciously realize it at the time, it was because you didn't feel the sense of soul comfort, familiarity, and safety that you finally do experience with your soulmate. With that said, let's go back to the beginning of your love story when your journey first starts moving toward your soulmate. We have this Five of Cups. This card talks about a deep sense of sadness and heartache. There may be depression, regret, and the feeling of a loss or lack of love. Some of you may have just broken up with someone or ended a previous relationship. For others of you, this could mean you are in a low point in your love life in particular, where you are feeling disappointed because there is a shortage or even an absence of love coming in for you. Perhaps things have not been working out in your romantic path for quite a while at this point, and you are possibly even starting to believe that there is no one out there for you. For very few of you, this low point and feeling of loss may not be in the romantic aspect of your life. It could be loss of something else that gave you happiness or pleasure, such as a family member, a friend, or even a hobby that you can no longer have for whatever reason. Regardless of what your unique situation is, you are in a rather low energy state with regard to your love life. We can see on the image on this card, the little prince is crying about the 2 spilled cups in front of him. Fortunately, this period of sadness does not last because your next card is the Wheel. This card is about destiny, about seasons, about transformations and new beginnings. The Wheel of Fortune card always makes me think of a twist of fate and something surprising and exciting coming in when you least expect it. The Wheel is about good luck, especially if it follows a low energy situation like we saw with your 5 of Cups, because the Wheel reminds us that life comes in seasons. After a cruel, barren winter comes a beautiful spring when the flowers will bloom again. I am getting a strong feeling that this means you'll be meeting your soulmate at this step in your journey. It may be a very crazy or unexpected way, or in a place or at a time that you would have never imagined. For example, you drop something of yours and your soulmate happens to pick it up, and they somehow find you in an unexpected way and manage to return your lost item to you. Of course, this is a very specific example, but you get the idea that it's a very unexpected or even ridiculous meeting that sounds like something that only happens in movies. And for many of you, during this unexpected meeting, you may not even consciously realize at first that this person is in fact your soulmate. However, you definitely feel that it was fated or meant to be, because like we mentioned earlier with the Ten of Cups, it's likely that you feel an immediate sense of comfort and ease when you are around each other, such that you are soothed and relaxed by their presence. For a few of you, this unexpected crazy event will be something that will eventually lead you to meet your soulmate down the road. So perhaps you do not meet directly just yet right here, or you almost meet, but later on when you two do get together and think back, you realize what a coincidence this event was. For example, maybe you and your person are at the same place at the same time, and your eyes meet in passing, and you feel a spark, but neither of you acts on it. You then regret not talking and getting each other's number, and you think you'll never see each other again. You don't know it yet, but of course fate brings you two back together again later on. Or maybe it's what seems to be a very benign event, like you were at the park on the same day as your person when you are still strangers, but later on when you two get together, you discover a random photo they took on that day, and you recognize that you are the person in the background of their photo. I'm getting excited and a little carried away thinking of all these serendipitous events, but I think you get the idea. If you have already experienced this unexpected event, please let me know in the comments what happened. I am very curious to hear about your story. But back to the wheel card. Whether you realize that you have met your soulmate or not, this card brings some positive energy and blessings into your life and takes you out of the sadness and depression from the Five of Cups. We can see on the image of this card, this is the little prince's home planet, which is very tiny, and in order to fit these elephants on his planet, they have to be stacked up on top of each other. This image gives me the feeling of overflowing abundance that is so overflowing that they have to be stacked up on top of each other in order to fit. You will be receiving positive energy, which can come in the form of new love offers, good luck, wealth, material gains, or a variety of other things. The card that follows is the Justice card. It's interesting because the wheel is number 10 and justice is number 11. So having these two major arcana cards come out in order means these are two very crucial steps within your journey. The justice card is about balance, harmony, and equilibrium. This card also represents fairness and karma. There is a lot of logic and thinking when this card comes out, and for love readings, it can warn about being a little bit caught up in your head or putting too much focus on what your mind thinks as opposed to what your heart feels. For some of you, this card may mean you will be making an important just decision about your love path, or that you are in a state of weighing your options and carefully thinking through the pros and cons of your choices. For example, you may be trying to choose between two love interests who are both pursuing you, or you could be deciding between love and something else such as your education or your career. At this step in your love journey, the majority of you will not yet have established a love relationship with your soulmate, and this decision that you will be making, represented by the Justice card, will directly affect your love journey. The next two cards that follow are both aces. First, we have the Ace of Swords, which represents something that must be cut away, because only by cutting out what no longer serves you are you able to welcome in the Ace of Pentacles, which represents a reward that you will gain. I personally have quite a love-hate relationship with this Ace of Swords in this deck because of the image of this fox. I hate it because something about its eyes makes me feel very uneasy, as if it's looking into my soul and reflecting back to me the eyes of my inner demons. But at the same time, I love this card because it reminds me that facing inner demons is not an easy thing, and it's absolutely okay and normal to feel this fear. The key is choosing to face these fears despite feeling fearful, and this is exactly the embodiment of the idea of the Ace of Swords. Cutting out what no longer serves us, clearing the obstructions, and breaking free from toxicity takes a lot of courage. The Ace of Swords is about having the courage to be honest and to face the truth. The character of the fox in the story of The Little Prince is very wise, and he teaches the little prince so many lessons about life, about love, about forming true bonds, and about what really matters. In the step of your love journey, you or your person, or maybe both of you, will be facing your inner demons. Most likely, this involves breaking past negative patterns about love. For example, perhaps you always find yourself in a relationship with the same kind of toxic person. Instead of falling in the same trap again, this time you face your shadow self and you figure out why you keep repeating the same negative pattern. You finally do the shadow work and you're able to break this negative streak. For some of you who are in situationships or dating people who do not meet your standards at this step in your journey, this Ace of Swords may be you cutting off all those connections that are not only not serving you, but also blocking you from welcoming in the right person. And for your efforts, you are rewarded with the Ace of Pentacles, which represents new abundance. Pentacles are earth energy, and earth is steady, grounded, and focuses on solid foundations. I feel this Ace of Pentacles is the step where most of you will be establishing your romantic connection with your soulmate. Maybe they are making their romantic interest in you known and they start to pursue you, or you might be the one confessing your interest to them. And with the Knight of Wands that comes after, your love life will really be ignited. This knight is one of the fastest moving knights in the tarot deck, and wands are powerful, passionate fire energy, so there's definitely a lot of fireworks for you during this step in your journey. This can be interpreted in a few different ways. For some of you, this Knight of Wands, which has the image of the lamplighter who is seen igniting this lamp with his flame, means passion and chemistry and love within your connection with your soulmate. This knight represents momentum, creativity, and magnetic physical attraction, and he is charming, attentive, and a passionate lover. So you can absolutely look forward to some explosive and mind-blowing moments in your love connection, especially in the bedroom. However, this night can be a little rash, which means things may move faster than what you are ready for. With all this explosive fire energy, it may also mean that a few of you could begin your connection with your soulmate on the basis of a physical relationship. And for just a few of you, this Knight of Wands may also represent a third party or several other suitors who are also competing for your love. Looks like you are very popular here. Your next card is the Five of Swords, which talks about conflict, disagreement, and mental turmoil. I feel for many of you watching, this means a separation of sorts with your person. You two may fight and face issues where you do not see eye to eye. For example, for those of you who had a mostly physical relationship with your person, you may be having the problem where one person wants more while the other is not yet ready. For others of you who previously had multiple other suitors competing for your love, this Five of Swords can literally represent the people fighting over you. I do want to mention, though, for a few of you, this conflict and turmoil is actually not between you and your person, but instead it is internally within you or within your person. So while you may not have an actual separation with your person, one of you could be going through some inner conflict where you are fighting your own feelings. Swords in general tend to have a harsh energy, so it is possible that cold or harsh words may be exchanged between you and your person. And this might be related to the apology messages we saw earlier with the hydrangea. We then go into the Eight of Swords. It looks like this conflict or separation helps you and your soulmate realize just how important you are to each other. But as a result, things could start to feel very real. The Eight of Swords is about being restricted or trapped or helpless. Maybe you are helplessly in love with your person, and this sense of losing control can be rather scary. However, we can see on the image on this card, the little prince is using his own hand to cover his eyes, so he is really blinding himself. This may mean that any feeling of restriction may be you or your person holding yourselves back from your feelings. One of you could be in a bit of denial about just how much you love the other. Thankfully, though, we have the Nine of Pentacles that comes next. This marks a turning point in your love connection. The Nine of Pentacles talks about understanding and appreciating what you already have and putting your focus on yourself, as well as feeling abundant on your own. For most of you, this card means you are probably still on a break with your person, but this is on much more positive terms. You now understand that you both need some time to work on yourself first and love yourself before you can come together successfully. All the energy you spent on conflict and anxiety before will be redirected into self-care and personal growth. You will mature a lot because our next card is the beautiful Queen of Pentacles. This is a stable, grounded, caring, and nourishing energy. Here, you and your soulmate will reconnect, and it will be better than ever. You will now truly understand and care deeply for each other. The Queen of Pentacles is loving, she is patient, she is accepting, and she is generous. It is smooth sailing from here on out for you because the Six of Wands that follows represents triumph over conflict and challenges. It is about achievement and recognition and reward. On the image of this card, we can see here that the pilot has successfully repaired his broken plane, which also represents your healing of your inner conflict or conflict within your relationship with your soulmate. The Six of Wands is about recognition and feeling seen and heard as well. So this means you and your soulmate will be feeling like you see and appreciate each other. And with this wonderful energy, we come to your union with the beautiful Ten of Cups, where most likely you will be getting married or building a family or otherwise having your happily ever after, whatever it means for you. These tarot cards have told us your love path, step by step toward your person, and wow, I am a little bit out of breath. So I suppose you may now be interested in some guidance or advice to help you figure out what in the world you should do now. Let's take a look at your oracle cards to hopefully answer some of your questions. Starting with contemplation. And also you have heart fire. Wow. You also got the last quarter moon in Pisces with the message talk less, feel more, as well as the full moon in Virgo with take inspired action. I am immediately drawn in by the two Journey of Love oracle cards because the contemplation card is a cool blue while the Heartfire card is fiery red. They feel like opposites. Perhaps for some of you, you and your person are the opposites attract type of couple. Maybe one of you is more calm and quiet while the other is bold and fiery. The contemplation card also gives me an energy that is very similar to the messages that we got from the blue hydrangea. In fact, the person drawn on this card seems to be lowering their head, possibly in sincere apology or maybe heartfelt expression of true feelings. This card with its deep blues is also making me think of the type of person who is calm and collected. Perhaps for some, these two cards together could represent the one of you who we said earlier is maybe a bit cold on the outside, but passionate and burning with heart fire on the inside. For example, perhaps your person is usually controlled, cool, collected, and pensive. And most people might label them an ice block, or perhaps even they themselves thought they were not interested in love, or maybe incapable of love. But then they meet you, and their heart fire is ignited. You awaken their passion, and it turns out they have such a big heart, and they're capable of loving and being loved so incredibly deeply. Of course, the Heartfire card is also confirmation for the passion and chemistry and attraction between you and your soulmate. On the other hand, you also have this calm, intuitive, spiritual level connection within your relationship as represented by the beautiful image of the Contemplation card. The message with this contemplation inspires us to think and delve deeper. This could be advice for when you need to look within and face your shadow self. However, with that said, like we mentioned with the Justice card, it is important to find a balance between contemplation and following our heart fire and taking action, especially inspired action as mentioned on the full moon in Virgo card. Full moons represent climaxes or important moments, so this card is advising you that during these key moments, instead of being caught up in your head and overthinking, it's best to take action to go after your desired outcome. Virgo is a grounded earth sign, and it is ruled by the planet Mercury, and as a result, Virgo is practical, detailed, and careful. In this sense, this full moon in Virgo advising you to take inspired action seems to combine contemplation and reasoning on the one hand with heart fire and inspired motion on the other hand. Finding this balance will be very beneficial in helping you to overcome your obstacles along your love journey, such as during your Five of Swords conflict or separation phase. The final piece of advice we have is from the last quarter moon in Pisces that tells us to talk less and feel more. First of all, I think this fits quite well with our image of the one of you who may be usually cold and quiet, but inwardly very feeling and passionate. Perhaps this card wants to assure you that even if your person does not often express in words how much they care for you, they truly do feel it. Maybe words of affirmation are not their top love language, or perhaps they're not very eloquent when it comes to verbalizing their feelings. Or perhaps it's you who's the one struggling to get your words out. But this card wants to confirm for you that your person feels your connection just as deeply as you do, and even without words, you two can communicate your love for each other. After the last quarter moon comes the next new moon, so the last quarter moon is often a time to release in order to welcome in the new beginning that is waiting to come. This reminds me of what we saw earlier with the Ace of Swords followed by the Ace of Pentacles. In this case, the last quarter moon is in Pisces, which is a very spiritual, emotional, and sensitive sign. This card is advising us that when it comes time to tune into our sensitive, emotional, and spiritual side and do our own shadow work, it is fine to allow yourself to simply feel your feelings. I think this is also directed toward the Eight of Swords step when some of you may be holding back your true feelings and restricting, binding, or blinding yourself from recognizing and accepting your love. The advice to just feel may sound so simple that it seems a bit silly, but oftentimes the best way to come to terms with our feelings is just to simply feel them. And with that said, those are all the messages I have for you today. I really enjoyed doing this reading, so if you would like, I would love to do a part 2 about your person's love journey toward you. Please feel free to share with us which step in your love journey you think you're at right now, and absolutely claim all the messages that you would like. Please remember this is a general reading, so never fear if not every single message was for you. Also, as usual, I do want to remind you that we all have the ability to shape our own destinies and paths. So please feel empowered, because if there's something you don't like in your reading, trust that you do have the ability to influence and change it. Please let me know in the comments below if things resonated for you, and feel free to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and I will see you in the next one.